So I'll quickly show you your Windows-based calculator, the calculator on your computer and your laptop for Windows operating system. So in your search, you can type calculator and it will bring up your calculator. You can right click on it to pin to your start bar and your start button. Because I have mine pinned already, so it is giving me the option to unpin. All right, so once you have that, you can click on your calculator and it will open your standard calculator. You can expand it to cover your entire screen. So here you have your calculator. You can see your keypad where you can put in the numbers, and then you have your operators: plus, minus, multiplication, division, square root, square, inverse, and then on the top left you have your memory buttons: memory store, memory subtract, memory add, your memory recall, and memory clear. At this time are grayed out because I do not have anything in memory. Let's say I put 20 in memory. I type 20 and I click on the memory store button. You can see those two buttons are now enabled to let me know that there are things in the memory, and I can clear the memory, and now I can do memory recall. All right, let's say I have the number 98 that I want to multiply by 20. Since I have 20 in memory, I can simply recall it, and then I click multiplication, and then it will multiply those two numbers for me. This number 1960, if it is very important to me and I want to remember, I can right click, select the number, and I can go to my notepad, for example, and paste the number. Let's do this again. Select, and then you copy the number. You have to copy the number. Sorry, we did not copy the number. And then you come to your notepad, and then you paste. So you have 1960 on your notepad now. So let's say I also have another number that is very, very important to me, which I save on my computer. I can also copy this number and bring it and save it on and use it in the calculator. Let's say I came to the calculator. Now I can paste that number and I can use it in calculation. All right, so now this was your standard calculator. Now, when you look to the top left, you see 3 horizontal lines. Once you click on that, it will show you a lot of other modes of calculator that you have. You see the scientific, for example. The scientific builds on the standard calculator, and it gives you a lot of more functions and things that you can do. You see n factorial, for example. You see x raised to power y. So you can pick any number and raise it to the power of any number. Let's say we have 1.2386 raised to power, let's say the number that I had in memory, which was 20. You see, I can raise that and do the calculation. It will give me that. So you can take your time and look at all these functions so you can know where to find them if you need them in the future. Next, we have graphing calculator. Here you can actually plot graphs of expression. Let's say we have the expression x plus y equals to 20. Then this is, so we plot the graph, it gives us that graph. You see, it also uses blue to indicate that particular graph. Let's say we're curious, we wanted to see what the graph of 2x plus y equals to 20 looks like. So once we type the expression, we can now click on the graph option. It plots it with a green colored line corresponding to that expression. Let's say we want to see what the graph x plus 2y, this time 2y equals to 20. Let's see what that graph will look like. So it plots with a red line. So this is what the graph. So for 2x, we see it crosses the y-axis at 20. And for the graph of x plus 2y equals to 20, it crosses the x-axis at 20. So these are some of the things you can do with your graphing calculator. So the next calculator we have is date calculation. So you can use this to calculate the date or the time difference between two dates. For example, if you want to see the time difference between today's date and when you were born, for example, you can put your date of birth. Let's say you were born in 2001, October 24th. It tells us the difference, 22 years, 8 months, and 5 days. So you can use that for date calculation. Currency, you can go into this and look at the currency of different countries. Based on the current interest rate, it can tell you what the value is. Now, volume. For example, in some parts of the world, people use liters. In some parts of the world, people use gallons. Let's say you're interested in seeing. So how many gallons are in 1 liter? How many liters are in 1 gallon? Okay, this is UK gallon. Let's say we want to see US gallons. Gallons in US, 3.785 liters is in 1 gallon. So that's an example that you can do with the volume. Length. In some parts of the world, people use kilometers. Some part of the world, people use miles. So if you wanted to see how many kilometers are in a mile, you can use that, for example. The same thing, weight and mass. Some places people use kilograms, some places people use pounds. Let's say 1 pound. So a kilogram. So we'll go to 1 kilogram. It's about 2.2 pounds. The same thing with temperature. Some parts of the world, people use degrees Celsius. Let's say 27 degrees Celsius, it will be about 80.6 Fahrenheit. The same thing as energy. If you were interested in looking at kilowatt hours and joules. Kilowatt hours, some people use joules in some part of the world. Let's say 1 kilowatt hours, that will be a lot of joules. Okay, so let's go to kilojoules. 1 kilowatt hours is 3,600 kilojoules. Then the next is area. Area, square. Let's go to square feet. And then we want to see how many square feet will be in an acre of land. Let's say we have an acre of land. That would be 43,560 square feet. So an acre of land. Okay, so now let's say you have a property already that sits on 65,000 square feet. So it tells us it to be about 0.15 acres. So that means you have about six and some fraction of these in 1 acre. All right, so then we can move to speed. Some parts of the world use kilometers per hour. Some people use miles per hour. So let's say 1 miles per hour will be equal to 1.6092 kilometers per hour. Let's say the speed limit is 65. Okay, we will just want to go back to 0 on this one. Let's go to 65 miles per hour. So that will be about 104 point something kilometers per hour. That's for speed. Then we can quickly time. You can convert years into any number. You can convert any of these into, so you can look at a number of years into weeks, for example. How many weeks are in a year? In 1 year, for example, it will be 52 weeks and a little fraction of months. A little fraction. Now let's say we want to go to days. So we can see 1 year will have 365 days and a quarter. So a quarter is what adds up to a complete day every 4 years when we have a leap year, 366 days. So this is how you can also use time calculator. All right, next is power. Horsepower, and this, you can use that and see how to convert from one to the other. Then the next is data. Data is also very, very important for people who deal with data. Data storage, you want to look at data size of bits, nibble, bytes, kilobits, kbps. So these are all measured. Kilo, for example, we know it's 1,000. So if we choose 1 kilobyte, so how many bits? It says it is 1,000 bits. So 1 kilobit is 1,000 bits. Now there's a number in computer engineering that is also very, very important, data storage. That number is 1024. So let's see kbps. You see, so 1 kbit equals to 1024 bits. So this number is actually kb. If you want to see this number times this number, 1024 times 1024, that will be megabits. So 1024 You see, so 1024 kbps will be equals to 1. So this is this number times this number will be bits. And then if we want to convert this, so this is the next, this is megabits. Megabits. You see, that's 1 megabit equals to that. So that's also something to know. Dera, then pressure, atmospheres, bars, kilopascals, millimeters of mercury, pascals. Those are the different units of measure of pressure. Angle, so we have degrees and radians. So 90 degrees, for example, it's 1.57 radians. So the calculator, there you have it. It's also something to know because there are a lot of things you can do with it.